I was thrown in a pit of dirty, dark ocean. And you either need to sink, right, or swim to
Yeah.
survive. So I
Yeah.
swam for the whole duration since I was 4 until age of 24.
This episode is brought to you by
Good afternoon, everybody. We're here at another episode of Chat with Mick, and right next to me, oh my gosh, it's so exciting because it's hit maker Tootsie Guevara. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me today.
And
Such
thank
a
you for
great.
being with us today. So we're here in sunny North Tustin, above the hills. Oh my God, it's so awesome. And this is such a beautiful place.
Thank-
I'm just so amazed because I know that it comes with a lot of hard work. You know, this is not just an overnight thing to have such an amazing place like this. And so, speaking of being here in Tustin, when did you get here to the US?
2 decades ago. So 20 years I got here,
Mm-hmm.
sunny LA, California. But the first city that I lived at was at Rancho Cucamonga.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Rancho what? Rancho Cucamonga. And then after that, I moved to Northern California for about a year or two because I did
Uh-huh.
real estate.
Where
I
in
know.
where in NorCal?
I lived in the city called Fairfield. It's an incorporated town. Actually, it's Green Valley. It's an unincorporated town of Fairfield. So we lived there for at least a couple of years because the brokerage company that I know that I reached out to believed in me in terms of my sales skill set and said, because I was searching for a job, not in entertainment when I
Mm-hmm.
got here. And yep, he hired me as his real estate agent. I passed the first time because you have to have a test, and then every
Mm-hmm.
4 years you have to renew your license. And then so I did that along with my first healthcare job. The mom, actually, Glenn McCann, is I always look back and um, malaking utang na loob ko sa kanya at saka sa pamilya niya. Because the Makayan family were the first Filipinos that when I reached out, kumata ko sa pinto, I said, hey, I wanted to have a normal job. You know, normal means
Mm-hmm.
not me singing as Tootsie
Mm-hmm.
Guevara. So I saw the opportunity since that um, company, his mom owns a in-home care agency. And so I proposed, I said, why don't you hire me as your marketing manager? And then on the side, I'll do real estate. So I've learned a lot with a couple of years. And then my ex-husband then had to move back, so I had to go with him and my family. So we moved back to SoCal and lived in Chino Hills. And then at some point, you know, when my first marriage didn't work out, as a single mom, I lived in Anaheim,
Mm-hmm.
Chino Hills, and then Anaheim. And then when I met my husband, I moved to North Tustin in 2011, and the
Mm-hmm.
rest is history. So and my main career is healthcare. So fast forward, I'm currently a hospital executive, managing the two hospitals in Orange County. So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much what I do. Haba.
Comes with a lot of hard work, and I'm sure there are a lot of challenges. But going back, you were at your prime in the Philippines. You were at the pinnacle of your career when you were there.
Yep.
And so, what made you decide to go to the US and leave everything behind?
Very good question. I left at the peak of my career because in my young mind then, I had to make my first riskiest decision in my life in terms of where do I see myself in the next decade or so,
Mm-hmm.
right? And at that time, even though I had all this fame, you know, I had numerous hit songs. Like I was really at the peak of my career. I had no reasons to leave the Philippines. However, at that time, I felt that my environment wasn't aligned with my soul
Mm-hmm.
and the vision and morals and principles that I want for my life. So at that time, my dad, sometime in 2002 or three, he said, well, I'm retiring this year and I'm graduating college in 2002. And he said, so when you graduate, after I walk you down, because I was an honor student, probably a month, I will go to the US to be with your siblings because there's six of us. Four
Mm-hmm.
have been based here for the longest time. And my dad said, your mom and your younger sister, who I'm waiting for to finish college, they will follow a year later because my sister, my youngest one, was only a year left for college. Then I told myself, well, that means I'll be by myself in the Philippines
Mm-hmm.
alone. And I felt like I want to be with my family. Since at that time, everywhere I turned, I felt like it wasn't for me, for lack of a better word. Like the
Mm-hmm.
projects weren't for me. That's not what I want for myself. Um, kumbaga, ang nangyari kasi sa akin noon at that time is my reputation. I don't want that to be tarnished. Or even though you keep it in the hush-hush, ang akin kasi walang lihim na hindi nabubunyag, di ba? And
Mm-hmm.
I was the breadwinner of the family, and I think it's because of, my late dad. He brought me up in a very, my dad was a very honest, high-principled man. Punong-puno
Mm-hmm.
siya ng prinsipyo. Kasi he was a government employee. His job was appointed by the president of the country, which is the Philippines, as an
Mm-hmm.
executive vice president, being in the government. He could have received or accepted the briberies, right? So, ang nangyari sa akin since I was a little girl is like he always instilled in me that whatever decisions you make, you need to ensure that it's coming from a good,
Mm-hmm.
because it will definitely trickle on to the next generation, like my offsprings, my children. Whatever I decide, good, bad, or evil, it's definitely going to carry on. So my dad said, you know, you don't lie, you don't cheat, you have to be honest and earn a decent living. But if you're abusing someone else, kung nang-apa ka ng tao,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever career you choose na wala kang, hindi mo pinapahalagan o respeto sa sarili mo, my dad said, then you should not do that. So
Mm-hmm.
again, going back to your question, I made that tough decision to say, you know what, I'm gonna put a pause. Hindi ko naman tinuldukan ang Tootsie Guevara Philippines because I knew at some point in the future, baka buksan ko ulit yung pinto.
Mm-hmm.
Ako na
Mm-hmm.
mismong kakatok.
You
And
can
two
never
decades,
say like it's
exactly.
over until
No, it
yeah.
wasn't over. And that's why ngayon, 2 decades later, I was right. Ako na mismo nagbukas ng
Mm-hmm.
pinto. Balikan natin si Tootsie Guevara.
Mm-hmm.
So, yun lang. And it was, kahit ibalik ko man, I would still make the same decision. Kasi, again, it was coming from a good place.
Mm-hmm.
At, may paninindigan. Kumbaga, I have
Mm-hmm.
chin up high, di ba?
Yeah, and,
You
and
know.
you're more ready this time around as an adult,
Yes.
making your own decisions. Had that launching show. I was there, and Tootsie mentioned that since she was 4 years old, she has been working all her life,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so, what was that like? I mean, you weren't the oldest in the family, right?
I was not.
And so, what was that dynamic like? You were the breadwinner, but
Mhm.
you're not the oldest. Like,
Correct.
how did that responsibility get passed on to you?
Mm-hmm. It was my mom. My mom has always been a mini entrepreneur, for a lack of a better
Mm-hmm.
word. Maabilidad si mom eh. She's good in sales. Doon ko nakuha yung maabilidad siya. She knows how to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Dahil stay-at-home mom siya, at that time yung apat kong half siblings are already here. So her life revolved to me, Tootsie, at sa isa kong kapatid. So yeah, I had a gift of music. So since preschool and kindergarten from Assumption, St. Teresa's, the nuns told my parents na I think you guys need to look into enrolling her in like School of Arts, whether it's singing, dancing, kasi sabi nila, itong si Emma, that's my legal name, this Emma, little girl, she knows how to dance, she knows how to carry herself on stage, so there's something there and she can really sing.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom put me in all singing competitions. In fact, the little piano that you saw up there in my wall of fame is my one of the singing competition where I won the grand champion. I was the youngest. So from then on, it's history because I was discovered by Biker Records. My mom saw the opportunity that if she is or was my agent, we can make money out of it. So she was really my agent or my road manager for a lack of a better, my stylist, lahat momager, ganyan. Oo. She was always there, like hair, makeup, pananamit, kung anong mga kanta, kung saan tayo mag-show, siya rin makikipag-deal. And then, yeah, hanggang lumaki ng lumaki, and there are other agents na, okay, now it's your turn because they're the pro. My mom, wasn't. So, siya talaga ang nakakita ng potential sa akin and ginamit niya yon for me to help the family. Kasi kapos eh. I mean, you and I know when you're a government employee in the Philippines, there's no way my dad can afford to send me to St. Paul College. That's private pay, Alam mo naman, the Philippines, the public school there is not the same here in the US. So,
yes, that's very true.
Yep. That's why I had no childhood, kasi I had to give that up. Kasi nga, ang students doon, di ba, syempre, pag bata ka, go to school, pag uwi mo, laro, or mag-Starbucks pa sila, yung mga college nun, uwi ng uso nun eh. Ako hindi, since infancy, since 4 years old, after school, that's entertainment. We're gonna rush to GMA 7, studio. And then, nung nagpunta after that, I went with ABS-CBN, and then that's when all my hit songs with Star Records came about. So, ang buhay ko nun, studio, campaign, or travel here in the US. So, even during school, my mom was adamant about, no, kailangan makatapos ka ng pag-aaral. And I owe her, for my degree kasi siya talaga ang ano eh. Kasi many times, hirap na hirap ako eh.
I'm assuming it was easy to say, I don't want to go to school anymore. I just want to work. I just want to be in showbiz and act and sing and do all the fun stuff, right?
Correct. I'm a different, I would say, even now I could say, I've always been an old soul, if you kind of get that. Like, even when I remember I was only 11 years old. Wala pa akong regla nun. And I'm really, like, my mom was counting 80,000 pesos at that time in our small home in Cainta. And she's like, okay, here's your 25,000 for your tuition fee, sa Saints ko. And then this other 25 is for your sister. O, itong natira pambayad sa maid, sa driver. Ito sa security deposit. So, I think with that, it was instilled in me na, oh my gosh, I help my family. I contribute, financially. That's a huge responsibility at a very young age. And for whatever reason, I told myself, dang, I'm so proud of you, Tootsie, like in my young mind. And that's when I told myself, you know what? I need to finish my education because I knew that my Tootsie Guevara hat or lifestyle, it's not forever. Like, you always have to depend on someone or a project. And I didn't like that. I felt so insecure. And that's why in my young mind, I need to finish my education so I have a plan B. And my plan B is here, living in the US. So I'm glad, it worked. But I believe, as a person, whether you have a plan A, B, C to Z, as long as you put your heart into it, you're committed and disciplined and driven, it's gonna come. Whatever it's plan C or D and whatever age, basta, focus ka lang. So, ganon, daldal ko, no? Ganon buhay ko. Hindi madali.
And so going back to being in showbiz, what was it like? We see a lot of news out there, people breaking up, like Kath Neal. We see all the things, all the fun things that they do in front of the camera, and now that we have social media, we see a little bit of their personal lives too, and everything seems to be all made up for TV, and it's really fun. So what was it like back then? You were in the early stages of That's Entertainment, right? And it was like a new thing and everyone wanted to be part of it. What was that like?
So I'm so glad you asked that question because nobody had asked me that. And the reality is, for whatever reason, Tootsie, myself, or Emma, I'm very different. Even I knew already that I have a different soul. When I was in that age, I looked around and I looked around my peers, and they're all hanging out, with each other for whatever reason. And again, in my young mind, I was like, and ang daming mga guwapo, like yung mga co-stars ko. But for whatever reason, I didn't feel safe. I think that's my, how am I gonna say this? Even currently, like in business decision, is like, do I think I'm opening up myself? Then I will just be extremely hurt. which wherein I know hindi naman totoo. Parang ganun yung mindset ko noon, teenager pa lang ako. And I knew it's not. Like it takes a special person or talagang you need to pursue me for me to believe na merong forever sa ganong relasyon. To be direct. Like, dami ng liga, ang kagwapo pa. Talaga, hindi ko na in-name names. Pati yung mga politiko na very powerful, dami pera. But, kaya nga my husband knows my entire life story because he's my best friend and my confidant. So the point I'm making is, noon pa lang, I've already shielded myself with people that I felt like hindi makakabuti sa akin, na I knew their intention is, oh, pang overnight lang, o pang hindi kasi ako ganun eh. Ako masyado akong seryoso sa buhay. I think that's the repercussion, right? If you were a breadwinner of a family, and at a very young age, you have to grow up quickly. So the mindset of that person, that's why I think that way, is because ang akin, I'm serious about this. This is my life. This is my time. So walang gaguhan, for lack of ayoko ng ganon. And I'm not saying na lahat ng relationships, boyfriend and girlfriend or babae sa babae o lalaki sa lalaki na ngayon, hindi totoo, depende. But I felt at that time the people that were surrounded, were around me is, hindi ko alam kung sino totoo, So I'm the type of person na, kahit nasa showbiz ako nun, gusto ko totoo. Like, meaning, is it coming from a good place? Do you really love me, even as a friend? Or are you only using me, right? As your trophy girlfriend, trophy wife, or because I was this huge pop star, Tootsie Guevara, that's probably why you're hanging out with me. And that's why, actually, my friends were actually non-showbiz. And that picture, if you gaze on your left, those are my real friends with my mom and dad that took me to the airport 2 decades ago. That's why I put it there, because it reminds me of where I came from. I don't forget. So yun, friends ko non-showbiz lahat that took me to the airport, and I told them, I'm saying goodbye to the Philippines for now, but I'll be back. I'm gonna live my life here as Emma.
So, given that mindset and knowing that you only care about real connections, real relationships, and you had a business mindset from a very young age, did you ever get complacent being in showbiz and not wanting to do anything else? I mean, I'm sure it came at one point in time. Did you ever get complacent?
Actually, no. I try to always reinvent myself. Like, if you look at all my album, I think what I'm trying to say here is, parang may pagka-rebellious, soft rebellious personality. And why do I say that? Like, from Star Records, the first record, really want to tell you what they wanted to release me. The concept was, I'm this young pop star Aliyah, R&B. And I felt like that wasn't me. So I kind of like rebel respectfully. And I really told si Tita Vilma, she was the Jonathan Manalo at that time. I said, no, Tita, I want Pasulyap-Sulyap as my first career single. I was still this little star Tootsie, and the rest is history. So from then on, nakita nila lahat ng choice ko ng song. Lahat hit songs. So all my hit songs, I specifically was the person, no, we're not going to release that song. This is the career single. And then in terms of complacency, no, I wasn't. That's why at the peak of my career, I remember I approached back GMA and said, hey, I want to be a soap opera actress. I'm like, what? But my look at that time, they said, well, you're not this mukhang kawawa or alipin. Your beauty is more for villain. I said, I'll try it. So I did, yung habang kapiling ka and kahit kailan. Nung habang kapiling ka, my mom was, Carmi Martin. Kasi hawid kami, Ayun, tapos yung sa kahit kailan, sinampal-sampal ko ako yung kontrabida ni Roxanne. Saka si Tony Gonzaga, doon. Nag-soap opera ako kasi I'm gonna say this, I was getting a little bored in my career, meaning like, okay, I have all these hit songs, ano pa, what's new?
Yeah.
I had more other projects na hindi na natuloy. Hindi ko na rin tinuloy kasi I plan to move here. But yeah, that was it. So I always wanted to reinvent myself para iba. Para
So,
iba-iba.
Coming here, did you say, was it like you wanted out of that kind of life and like live a new and completely different kind of life in the US?
Yes. I really changed kasi I had trauma. in the
Mm-hmm.
Philippines. So that's why I put a pause because I did soul search as Emma. Like, ano ba yun? What had happened?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to, ganun kasi ako eh, I'm very methodical when I process things in life. Like, okay, that's good. What's not good? Okay, how are you gonna move forward? Inisa-isa ko yun. It wasn't easy. But I knew for sure when the moment I landed here, naamoy ko yung amoy ng Amerika, no, sa LAX. I told myself, you don't look back. Don't
Mm-hmm.
look back, don't shed any tear in terms, yung tear na mamimiss mo, di ba, yung ganon. I was already determined that I'm gonna succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my mindset the moment I got here. Kasi for me, the way I look at it is I want to live a meaningful and purposeful life. I felt
Mm-hmm.
like even though I had those gifts and amazing career in the Philippines, I felt like may kulang. Parang, paano ko ba ma-explain? May kulang nun eh. And I
Mm-hmm.
think because kasi nahaluan ng trauma, ng hindi magaganda sa industriya, you know, malungkot na masakit na masaya, parang buffet, no, na pagkain.
Mm-hmm.
Malungkot na masakit na masaya. Ang buhay ko sa Pilipinas at a young age. So, binago ko yun dito. So, yeah, yun ang,
Granted that you knew that you had the talent, your mom wanted you to help the family out using your talent. Would you say that you were thrown into the fire, so to speak, when you got into showbiz at a very young age? Who would really know as a kid, right? What they were doing. Like, it's all fun and games, and next thing you know, you're an adult and you kind of lost whatever regular people were supposed to be doing.
Actually, you're absolutely right. I felt like I was thrown in a pit of dirty, dark ocean. And you either need to sink, right,
Mm-hmm.
or swim to
Yeah,
survive. So I
yeah.
swam for the whole duration since I was 4 until age of 24.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi yun yung career ko eh.
And you swam like
Mhm.
successfully, and I mean, you have like hit songs, and
Thank
you had a
you.
lot of projects. And going back to the US, how did you get into healthcare? I mean, it's so different from being in show business. And how did you transition over to healthcare?
So, Tita Priscilla Makayan is the mother of Glenn Makayan. So,
Mm-hmm.
this family, they're very successful up north in San Francisco. So, Glenn Makayan owns this brokerage company, and then his mom has this company called Precious Home Companion. So, when I got here in 2004, I was already planning my future as Emma. Okay, which area? But I've had many shows here when I got here kasi nga, sikat na sikat ako eh. But I knew I can't continue to be this Tootsie for 20 years here in the US. Like,
Mm-hmm.
gusto ko may patutunguhan. I've always wanted stability and security in my life. So, paano ko gagawin yon? So, babalikan natin yon. So, I approached Ninang Priscilla. Kasi ninang ko siya sa kasal sa una ko. And I said, Tita, mukhang tumatanda ka na sa ano. Kasi I see her, she was driving a Toyota Prius with her company name that says Precious Home Companion. So what's that all about? Sabi niya, oh, it's an in-home care agency. We provide caregivers to wealthy
Mm-hmm.
people. And I just told myself, I've always knew I'm good with people in terms of talking to them like sales. So I just took the risk. I just said, why don't you hire me as your marketing manager? And I was like quiet. And she said, oh my God, that's the best idea. I'm like, oh my God, my heart dropped because I thought na-insulto ko siya. So yeah, I took that, no, $17 per hour. I'm so proud of it. Because my son now, who's, going to be in college, that's how much he makes. He works part-time at Trader Joe's. So in going back to me, I took that, no? And the reason why is I wanted a normal job. I want to
Mm-hmm.
be normal because I've never been normal in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
I want to understand how you can make friends because I was socially awkward, believe it or not. Because I was in this bubble. I was this
Mm-hmm.
pop
Yeah.
star Tootsie Guevara. So you're only surrounded with your mom, your PA, and fans. It's like that's not life. So fast forward, I think I really did good. I got recruited to work as a marketing manager in the assisted living. And then I got recruited again. So nakita ko, I think I'm on the right track because I told myself, where am I good at? What is my skill set, right? That's where, and then I will focus on that. In exchange, I need to be compensated. Like I put it like, okay, if Tootsie Guevara was singing, nagkumita siya, how about Emma? Who is Emma good at? Anong skill set ko? So I knew talking to people like in management, leadership, yun talaga ang, gusto ko. And then fast forward, I kept awa ng Diyos. Talagang lagi akong, for whatever reason, nare-recruit. Talagang kakapasok ko pa lang, let's say, wala pang isang taon, may tatawag na. Like, if you look at my resume, and then dun tumaas ng tumaas yung salary ko din. And then I think kasi I'm always a go-getter. And I always challenge myself. So yeah, and then the longest career ko is in nursing home. I was director of business development, and I became regional 3 times. Yung one time, I had 23 buildings from the Valley to San Diego, and then I was traveling a lot. But before that, the point here is to answer to your question is I fell in love with healthcare because of that company, Precious Home Companion, Priscilla. She was my first mentor because that company you provide caregivers to the homes of wealthy people. And in San Francisco, there's 2 cities, Dublin and Walnut Creek. Para siyang Beverly Hills, no?
Yeah.
Very affluent, and I enjoyed talking to elderly people. Their stories, the history, the struggles they had, and I felt like, wow, that is so cool. And then I've learned, internally yung parang patakbo ng business and management. And then that's when I knew na I think there's something here in healthcare that I love, kasi I think I fell in love because that career, not only the compensation is there, is it makes me feel good na you made a difference at the end of the day, whether you help the patient or makatulong ka sa tao, whether it's management or healthcare, patient care, ganun. So that's the story why I stayed or looked into flourishing my career in healthcare. It's actually a great industry, very stable.
Would you say it's more satisfying than being in showbiz?
Um, no, not really. How am I gonna say? The reason why it's like that, the way I look at my main career is stability and security. That pays for your bills, for your mortgage, for that's why I also chose to continue working to help contribute with my husband. Kasi kung siya lang, we may have this house, but paano naman yung mga purses ko? Maluho ko din kasi ako, I'm vain. You could see. And the way I look at it is, I want to maintain that. I want to grow old gracefully. Yung hair natin, mahal magpa-kulay, di ba? O, mga makeup ko. O, yung mga pang-spa, yung mga purses ko, mga alas. And most importantly, I love traveling. And when we travel, I like mahal. Mahal, di ba? Mahal talaga ang bakasyon. So, that's why even at a young mind, 20 years ago when I got here, I really need to have my own career, regardless I'm married. Better if I'm married, wherein I always want to be married. But the point I'm doing is my career, that's why I never quit and I focus on that because I knew that's what's gonna, make money and pay the bills. So I need stability and security. Now this Tootsie Guevara is my passion project, but at least you get compensated too. So that's why my answer is like that, like yes and no, because the way I look at myself is like I cannot give up my Tootsie Guevara hat because I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And not only I'm compensated, but like you can donate or help other people because I do that, privately. And then if I only do the Emma Monaco, then for me it's like that's boring.
Yeah.
Like in my personality, I love being the center of attention because that's part of being a performer, diba?
Yeah.
Like you cannot be a performer if you have stage fright. So I'm the opposite. I don't have stage fright. I like to talk, I like to sing, I like to perform, I like wearing, so that's why the combination of Tootsie and Emma in one body I love. So for me it's like I can't give up both. I hope that made sense.
Yeah. So would you say, right now that you have the stability and you're at a good point in your life, when was the time when you decided, okay, I think I'm ready to go back to entertainment and I'm okay now, like I'm gonna sing again?
Yeah.
So when was that?
recently, year 2000, 2022.
Like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So what was the turning point? Did you get bored or something, or like what happened that made you think, oh, maybe I could go back into singing?
I felt ready.
Mm-hmm.
I've always, even before 2022, hindi pa ako handa. Um, it was a journey, is what I'm saying. Meaning,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the type of person na I don't want to do things half-hearted, basta lang magawa mo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like, I want to, I commit, and when I commit, it's more than 100%. So I struggled here with all those, time, like emotionally, psychologically. Because remember, I had PTSD. I had a traumatic life and childhood in the Philippines. So I had to be my own psychologist. Pinosisyon ko lahat, mental, socially, spiritually, emotionally. So I felt like I wasn't ready to come out and do the things that I've envisioned to do.
Mm-hmm.
Matagal ko nang pinlano, like, when can I? So 2020, when the world shut down because of
Mm-hmm.
COVID, actually that helped me truly to do soul search again, meaning search inwards, like I changed my mindset, turn negative to positive, turn pain into power. So in nung 2021, I changed my diet lifestyle because I gained 45 pounds. And I knew that's because of accumulation of, bad food choices, emotional baggages. So from 2021, talagang nag-diet ako. I cut off like the bad carbs. And then na-achieve ko yung weight ko year 2022. And then that's when I told myself, okay, I'm ready. I got this covered. Meaning,
Mm-hmm.
I already know who I am now. I know what I want. I claim what I don't like, and that's okay, and stuff like that. Kasi that was my thought process. Na I don't wanna do something na I'm not even sure about myself.
Mm-hmm.
So parang lalabas half cooked, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
So ganun ginawa ko year 2022, tapos nagsunod-sunod yung mga concert. So
And
ganun
so
nga.
in this version of Tootsie Guevara 2.0, if you will, what can we expect?
Oh, the version of Tootsie Guevara 2.0 is Tootsie is now a woman, o diba? From man to a woman, hindi. Babae talaga ako. This is the bolder, self-assured, and powerful Tootsie is, what I can say. Because I think most, if not all, people think, oh yeah, Tootsie Guevara is the teeny pop star, right? Like, oh, just known for pasulyap ka ba with her hand movements. Actually, no. I have, even with all those albums that I released, maraming hugot songs doon, Tagalog and English.
Mm-hmm.
So with those songs, hit song again, that was my decision. That was my niche at that time. Kasi at that time, kasabayan ko, mga biritan eh. And I was like, paano naman ako, di ba? Parang how would I have my own identity kung I will just be classified as them? I don't like that. So that's why I
Mm-hmm.
created that pathway. So now, fast forward to Tootsie Guevara 2.0 version is, again, very powerful.
Should we be expecting something grander? I'm assuming that you're gonna come up with some hit songs. Are you working with some composers and songwriters?
Yeah, so currently my focus for the whole 2024, I'm releasing an EP. So it's 5 songs collaboration, 4 English and 1 original. So I don't want to mention the collab artist yet,
Mm-hmm.
para surprise. So that's my focus right now. So we have scheduled recordings already. And we're cooking up 2 major concerts, one this year and one for next. And also for next year, we're planning to bring my 5 collaboration with those other 5 artists and do a comeback concert in the Philippines next year. So that's the plan. So, yep.
So that's something to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
And for those young girls and boys who, are sort of succumbed to be the breadwinner, try to make a living out of being in showbiz, what's your advice for them?
Okay. So I think what I could just share to people, regardless you are the breadwinner of the family or you want to contribute. I think is what matters. All I could say is first, you have to plan and look into inward first. Because I feel like I don't hear that a lot from, most people. So what does that
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, okay, I want this and that, but their approach is different, right? So what I meant is like they have to look into inward. What is important to you, to them? What's important to me? Who am I? Why am I gonna do this? Why am I even thinking about it? Like you have to know your whys. That's what I meant by looking inward. And the reason why I put emphasis on that is so you don't walk around this earth doing something in entertainment industry that is not really purposeful and
Mm-hmm.
meaningful, right? So, and again, this principle doesn't apply to other people that don't have this mindset, right? Ngayon,
Mm-hmm.
kung gusto lang nilang pabanjing-banjing short term, then that's their choice. But for me, if a person wants to live a meaningful and purposeful life, you need to understand yourself first. Who you are, what's important to you, anong prinsipyo mo sa buhay. For me, importante yun eh. Now as a mom, I tell my kids, whatever career you choose into, you are going to be successful if you have this mindset,
Mm-hmm.
whatever field. So you cannot be the opposite. Kasi kung hindi mo kilala sarili mo, you're gonna be lost in the journey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're just gonna be running around like a rat, right? Like in a cage. But if
Mm-hmm.
you know you have a vision, you know where you're yourself, you know where I'm going into, and I don't like this, I like that, then you're on the right track. Then there's no question you're gonna be successful, is what I can say. Hopefully that makes sense.
So, what is Emma's purpose?
Emma's purpose in life is to inspire people, particularly people that thought it's the end or I suffered all my life and that's it. Like, ganun na lang. No, and that's part of the reason why I'm actually coming back and coming out. I have many plans in the future. I want to leave a legacy filled with, purpose and meaning. And again, you can absolutely turn pain into power. I look around and most of the time people don't have that depth,
Mm-hmm.
or they struggled or people have issues and for me it's like my point, like, that's okay, we all, nobody's perfect, however there's an however or but what are you going to do about that, like that's your past but that should not define you, is what I'm saying. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm coming out, now. And if you notice, like the songs I sing always has a meaning. Like every time I look, I know when I have a show or a concert, the songs that I sing, of course, I sing my hit songs, but the non-hit songs, kung English man o Tagalog, is may dahilan kung bakit ko kinakanta yung kantang yun. Kasi I wanna share my message. So, and then at some point, marami pa akong plan. I wanna have my own book.
Mm-hmm.
I looked into that to again to inspire people, whether young, man, female, male. Kasi sayang eh, you only gonna live your life, once,
Mm-hmm.
and make the most out of it. And most importantly, importante yung faith mo sa buhay, whatever religion, and I'm at the point in my life na talagang merong higher power, whether they call it Allah or
Mm-hmm.
Buddhism or iba-ibang, it doesn't matter, but there's really that higher power. So that's really what I want for the next chapter of my book, kasi hindi pa tapos eh. This is just another chapter of my book. I think I won't retire. My husband's right. My husband, oh babe, you're never gonna retire because I have
Yeah.
so many plans, and I still feel young,
Mm-hmm.
like you.
Like me.
Di ba?
You've always talked about advocating for a meaningful and purposeful life. You have a family. You have your husband and your two sons. Is there anything that you would want them to do in their life? You said earlier you want them to be successful no matter what they do, right? Some parents have like that little wish or dream for their offsprings. Do you have any for them?
Actually, none. Again, that's what makes me unique. I'm the type of mother. believe it or not, I'm not a doting mother in terms of na, oh my God, nahulog, may peklat na, ganun, I'm gonna cry. Like, oh my God, lagyan natin. No, like, I raised them to be independent.
Mm-hmm.
And because I want to toughen them up, that, um, so to your point, the answer is no, because I don't want to force into my son's mind what I want, not my place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it need to stem from them. So, for example, I'm not advocating for my kids to go after their passion first. No. Why? That's not a money maker, right? Like passion meaning if my son said, I want to be a painter or something, I said, yeah, you can do that, but probably find a day job. Because I want to teach them the reality of life, meaning like you cannot be just living at mom's house and you won't pay your own rent, or not rent, but mortgage. What I'm trying to say here is I want my boys to understand that they will have financial responsibilities. Yung totoo,
Mm-hmm.
not a foo-foo. And if it's like I don't want to inculcate in their minds now. I just want you to be a doctor. Oh, ikaw, I want you to be a no, because that's if why would I push that if that's not what they want,
Mm-hmm.
But what I teach my kids as early as now, and that's why I like my college. I told him use your high school years and college years to understand where are you good at,
Mm-hmm.
and I told my son, you're like me, you present yourself well, you're very charismatic. That means you can be good in operations and sales, because that goes hand in hand. So what I'm trying to say here is I'm not the type of mom na kailangan parang stereotype, kailangan doktor ka, ikaw kailangan nurse, yung ganon. For me, I don't believe in that, because for me, that's you're limiting your child. A lot of actually successful people, some of them don't even have college degree, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
know one in my family, and he's the executive vice president of this, publicly traded company with no college graduate. But you look around the successful people, what all they have in common is they have drive, right? They have drive, meaning drive like they know where they're going, they know what direction they're gonna go. Hindi sila yung parang happy-go-lucky. So, in going back to my children, that's the kind of mom I am. Ayoko silang diktahan or stereotype. All I know is find where you're good at and focus on that career, and then passion comes.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reason why I'm passionate about that, coming from entertainment industry, I looked around, not to name names, and they're not financially set. you know it's like, for me, it's like, if my husband is a billionaire, then of course, why would I, right? Like, but we're not. We need to survive, so then you have to be smart about it.
Mm-hmm.
So ganon. So yun ang alam ng mga anak ko, na they can do passion on the side if they have a main gig, a main career to help them become, financially independent. And I tell them, invest in real estate. Kasi ang real estate talaga, it's stability. So then you can do your passion,
Mm-hmm.
right?
So is Tootsie Guevara 2.0 something that you really want and are passionate about?
Tootsie Guevara 2.0, something that I really want and passionate about. It's music with purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that purpose madami, 'di ba? Inspiring, women, inspiring, you know, um, people that had suffered and pain through music. Yun. That's the new version of Tootsie.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tootsie Guevara, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being with us today.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
And we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Time to shine, time to shine, shine bright, be the star you are, yeah. Time to shine, shine bright, be the star you are, yeah.
Don't miss out. Want to be seen? Want to be heard? Want lots of exposure? Ask us how.